Okay, hello everybody, welcome back to the stream. So first and foremost, I'm not actually 100% certain which microphone is currently in use. I was just having issues with the setup that I actually just spotted while the music was playing. Regardless, hopefully the quality of this audio is good, and it does look like I'm using the correct microphone, so that is fantastic. Regardless, we are going to be pushing to try and finish Stirring Abyss, which is a really great game that honestly seems to have gone underlooked. It only has about 250 odd reviews on Steam. It's right now, it is not looking good for its ability to meet the definition we have of Lovecraftian, which out of 19 potential points, it's currently only hitting 3.5. And to be honest, about the only point it's left that it could get, I don't want it to get. Just to quickly show you, because it's still on the screen, um, it's so far hitting. Yes, it's got tentacle scales, body parts, long size, place, all that sort of thing. Um, it the protagonists are basically blank slates, and the horror so far is absolutely unknowable. There's a lot of unknowable points, and I like how they have done that in so many ways. That has been a big part of the gameplay and a big part of the rather minimal story that this game has, but has been a big part of that story. Um, and I've given only zero point 0.5 to the logic of insanity because it is in there, but it really seems to be a massive afterthought. It's one of the parts of the game that just feels like a complete afterthought. And if you just look at it from the mechanics, it is not that. By a long shot, it is not that. So it seems to be playing on both the standard gibbering insanity mechanic and a certain amount of logic. So whoever wrote the narrative for this game put effort in, even if it was an afterthought. But the thing that it could still do, it hasn't used terms coined by Lovecraft himself with an intent to be read as connected to those other Lovecraftian tales. It hasn't done that. And I'm actually really liking that it hasn't done that, because I find that most games that do that hinge the entire game on that. Like their marketing, their the concept is just like, oh no, yes, this is definitely Lovecraft. See, we have Cthulhu. See, we have Innsmouth. Aha, so it must be Lovecraft. And then they just don't do anything interesting with it. This game, as sparse as it is on the story, has actually done some interesting stuff. So I actually hope it doesn't hit tick that box. I also hope it doesn't lose any boxes. But yeah, it looks like it's time for us to continue this playthrough and hopefully finish the game. Now, last stream was supposed to be the final stretch, but I had a massive glitch. Like a massive, like my screen just basically stopped working. It seemed to be associated with the game, but it was just the whole graphics driver just went nope, boom. So that was weird, and I'm still trying to figure out what happened there exactly. Um, but there's some good news and bad news. First, the save file wasn't corrupted, so that was good. But I lost my fourth character. So normally in this game you can revive dead people, but for some reason, because of that dropout, because of that glitch, because of that whatever, couldn't revive him. Um, so there was just I completely lost that character. I lost his gear. He didn't have very important gear. Actually, I didn't lose his gear because I did manage to pick it up. Um, or did she have that the whole time? I can't remember actually. Or did I build? I don't know. Uh, Regardless, I lost. I'm pretty sure I lost that character and his gear. So I had to build up a new guy. This is our new guy, who the very last thing he got was Jolly. So that was nice. He basically is actually the same character, but slightly better. Except he doesn't have the strategist, which was very nice, but I only really need one strategist for this gameplay. So He's slippery, so he's immune to attacks of opportunity. He gains sanity when he kills someone. He's got a lot of sanity. The weapon specialist ability, I don't use it that much, but it is a really good ability that I should use. Like, it is a good ability. And then, of course, Jolly. And he got a mutation, which is the reflexive damage, so same as him. So basically, the two of these guys are relatively similar in terms of how I can, and like they have differences. So this guy is can deal with groups better and can boost the whole group, but I don't really use like spotter or anything like that. But yeah, so I have a fairly combat heavy group, and she can just more or less drop the Cerberus, so pretty solid. But oh, didn't mean to zoom in. Didn't mean to zoom that far out either. Ooh. It's nice seeing everything a little bit further out than usual. Anyway, so yeah, we are at either I believe the second last. I'm pretty sure the last one's going to be right here or something. But we are at potentially the second last thing. Excellent, no missions. If I was a smart man, I would probably do something like seal defense or salvage or whatever in order to reduce the overall corruption level, because that is up high. But we're not going to do that because I just want to try and push forward to the end. Now, I don't mind if I completely lose this game. The main thing I want to do is just establish... hang on, where am I? This isn't the same map, is it? I think this is the same map. Do I have to do the whole map all over again? That's going to be annoying. That's weird. Well, it does in fact look like I'm going to have to do the map, the puzzle, all that sort of thing all over again. So that's fairly unfortunate. We know what could go down there like that. So this is where it's just like, you know, oh yes, the narrative is very much an afterthought. Because you get scenes like that, and it's just like, it makes no sense. We've seen this like 20 times. Why are you reusing the same lines? And it's because they didn't write any other lines. This is insane, how can this be happening? So that's almost appropriate, but you've said that sort of thing so many times before, we kind of already know the answer, don't we? I think this is a different map. I hope this is a different map. Better be a different map. What? Oh, yeah, no, this is definitely the same map because I've got to do all of that. That fun business. But it looks like everybody is dead, so... Now we're just going on a nice little walk. I'm actually going to boost us. Why have I got... Bad. Sorry about that, I don't know if you heard that, just I had an alarm start going off randomly. Alright, let's get everybody up here. So, by the look of it, yes, this is absolutely the same map, but it has remembered that I've killed everybody, so everybody who would be in the way is dead. So it's just a long walk through the abyss. Probably have to fight something that bursts out of the those tentacles because, hey, they're still around. Nah, what are you doing? Stop trying to be fast about this. It's not working too well. Up this way, I believe. Ah, look at all those tentacles. Aren't they pretty? I believe it's the next one that I have to go to. Normally this would have been filled with monsters to fight, but no, I've killed them all. Remembers that I killed them, doesn't remember that I had a character die here. The real question is, will I be able to... Because I solved the puzzle. Both of the puzzles. So I should, in theory, be able to walk straight out, because the weird fiery stuff that was there should be gone now. Nobody cares. Okay, hang on. I'm gonna have you at least walk a bit. And now shoot him. And he reloaded. Isn't that nice? Yeah, I feel like a... yeah, so the fire is gone. There was, like, fiery stuff that was right there. Like, as I said earlier, I feel like a smart person, like somebody who was playing this heavily strategically, would make sure that that is reset before going to the final boss fight. But, screw it. We are just here for the story, we are just here for the lore. It doesn't matter too much if we lose the game. Okay, that's it, I guess. Let's actually get everybody out. Bam, bam, bam. And... bam. So yeah, that was what we got to at the last game when everything just failed. Alright, because I killed a thing, so I got 2 clues. That would be a nice way. That would actually be a smart way... smart, cheesy way to get clues. So every time you kill something, you get 2 clues. So imagine doing a map like that, and just standing on those viney tentacle things, and just because standing on that increases the chances that one of those things will spawn. And it's essentially infinite spawn. You just keep standing on them, one appears, you kill it, you continue standing on it, one appears, you kill it, oh no, your air's finally running low, we exit. Like, that would be a grindy way to get clues, but that would be a way to get clues. And that's probably a big part of why these guys only level up to 6. And why these... oh, wow. Okay, I have a lot of clues. I did not realize I have that many clues. Did I get all of those last game? What? Oh, that's right, because it was giving me plus 100 or plus whatever. Yeah, no, that actually makes sense. Alright, well, I guess I can unlock a bunch of these. Plus 50% critical strike damage, affects all divers. If a diver would die, they instead heal for small amounts. That could be really quite nice, actually. Plus 8 aim affects all divers. That would also be quite nice, but I think not dying is much more important, and I really want to grab one of those. But I unfortunately can't. I don't actually have enough to grab one of them. The only reason I want to grab one of them, actually, like, strategically, these ones are better for my playstyle and everything. But unlocking the one of these nets you an achievement, and I kind of just want the achievement. Regardless, how's everybody's health? Sanity is all good. So yeah, this looks like the final mission, and great map design. Like, it's just poking out over the map. But, no missions to find. Yep, cool. We're going in. All Devourer. Here we go, no turning back now. Is that the captain? Why would you think that's the captain? It was, but not anymore. You know what it has done? No mercy. Like, there's nothing in that could possibly make you think that that was a human, or that it was specifically the captain. Why would you come to that conclusion? Especially because we still have the Soviets running around the place. It could be Voronin. Yeah, some of the story beats, as much as I love what they're trying to do, the implementation is just like, yeah, no, guys, you didn't manage that. That's not what you've justified here. How far is that? Awesome. Can I take a shot? Alright. He's the last one I want to move, because he has Strategist, so... Yep, him. Oh, that's an object worth investigating. Might give me a clue of how to actually do this. Alright, so first, gonna move him there. And now everybody gets tactical maneuvers. So I'm just going to use his thing to have a look at that. While I'll be down, Petty Officer Kowalski has little time for investigation, but it's not difficult to tell what he's found. A nuclear bomb. As it was built to be portable, Kowalski estimates the yield must be somewhere in the tens of kilotons at most. More than enough to take out the entire palace if it could be armed. The dead Soviet sailor lying next to it must be Seaman Petrov. What a tragic fate to make it so far in this hellscape only to falter at the last step. Kowalski shivers. The admirals who sent them here would tell him that this man is an enemy. The unending conflicts humanity wreaks upon itself have never seemed of less importance. I like that. If they had emphasized that sort of thing throughout the game, I would have actually given it a point for belittling of humanity. Like, this is just a passing thing. It's not really a central thing. It's not even really a source of horror, which is what the category is. But if they had emphasized that a bit more, and if that had been present more, I actually would have given it another point. They might all be dead now if he had completed his last desperate mission. Now, with no way to arm the weapon, Kowalski realizes they'll have to do this the hard way. The arming code is missing. Alright, so it's possible the arming code is actually floating around somewhere on this map. So I'm actually going to... actually, I should probably have her do the looking for it, but for the time being, I'm going to have her shoot. I thought you reloaded. Damn. Would have been good if you had. Alright, so if anybody gets hit, I want it to be him. Because the two of them have reflection, and he has strategic, which is very useful. I guess he hits all of us anyway. And that looks like an explosive thing. So, let's start with her. I'm going to have her explore the map in case I can find the arming code or something. And the rest of them are... Ooh, protects from ranged attacks. That could be quite nice. Now shoot. And miss. How did you miss? So you have defensive posture, could be quite nice as well, but more importantly, reload and shoot. How could you miss? That should debuff us, I think. No? Oh well. Alright, that was cool and all, but fortunately all my people were out of range. Now, I don't know what this parasite that I'm suffering is. We the monsters, what's happening to me? I mean, you do have a reality mirror mutation, so kind of yes. That's my fault. It's 100% my fault. Can't go down that way. Okay, well... Yay, automatic reload. Stop messing. Maybe I should have gotten the extra, aim. You'd think something so big would be easier to hit. Alright. I'm not sure what attacking those actually does, but she can keep at that while the rest of us... I'm going to move a bit closer. I think being... I'm not 100% certain, but I think being closer improves aim. What the... Oh! I just want to get off of those now. Damn it. We'll spread out a little bit further so I'm not shooting my guys. The hell is that? Did that do sanity damage? Because I was in the line of fire or something? Alright, well... As long as I survive long enough, which I'm not taking too much damage so far, as long as I survive, I reckon I can actually win this. Wow, that would take forever to kill. I'm not convinced that killing this is the actual plan. Did that do damage to me, killing it? I'm doing a decent amount of damage. And the first boss that we fought... what if I take a step back and shoot it? Would it do more damage that way? Yeah, much more. don't fully understand what that is doing. I don't understand what those guys are doing. There's a lot going on here I don't understand. And I like it, because it's just like, it is actually giving me that sense of the horror of the unknown. Like, I think I get, like, those explosions are dealing sanity damage. For, automatically reloaded. But, like, I don't understand what it is doing. I don't understand, is it just supposed to be RNG? Those lines, like, I know that the lines are connecting between them, but, like, is it supposed to be just that easy for me to dodge? Do they always appear in the same spots? Or are they just appearing in the same spots because my characters aren't moving that much? I mean, they are in different spots, but... Alright, so one of those is dead, and I don't know what effect that's gonna have. Missed. Missed. How could you miss? You had one job, and that was not to miss. You are my ultimate damage dealer. He's in the exact right position, because he has regeneration. So, he's taking a little bit of damage, and then healing it. And then a little bit of damage, and then healing it. Alright, let's see what shooting the thing that's doing the violent discharge is going to be like. No, no, a blue thing exists. One of them's under me. How terrible. That was fairly solid. Alright, has that recharged? Yes, so I'm gonna hold off on using that for the moment. Automatic reload? Yes! Perfect! Take another shot. Take another shot. And you're reloading. Took 0? I don't know why you're saying we can't take this for much longer. I mean, look. Like, the only one of us who can't take it for much longer is him, and... like, he's doing okay. Not great. Be doing better if I, had a med kit. Do I have a med kit? Nah, I didn't bring a med kit. .33 and a glancing hit. Now, I don't actually have a way to heal him, unfortunately. He's almost dead. Literally one more shot. I don't know what destroying these things does, but we're doing it. Hey, she took a point of damage. Don't kill my front guy. I mean, I don't need him, but he's been with me the second longest. The longest being my main character, essentially. My first character. Alright, we start by destroying that. And you know what? You can have the honor of hopefully finishing him off. Yay, we got a cinematic.
I could hardly believe it was done. be over.
Who is the female voice? Hang on, I'll talk about it afterwards.
We expected to return as heroes.
Why? Why would you have that expectation? I mean, that actually
Instead,
diminishes the horror.
They buried us in institutes and laboratories. The truth was far too terrible for them to accept.
No, that's just the truth is very unbelievable.
Will doom us all.
Why would it do that?
They never saw what awaits beyond that dreadful threshold. They never met the gaze of the abyss.
And to be fair, I'm not convinced you did either. So yeah, regarding the female voice there, something I noticed much earlier in my gameplay is that there's basically no female characters, which is, like, in a sense it's fine, because the historical time period of this, there would be far less females, like women, on submarines to begin with. I'm not even entirely certain. I'm pretty sure women weren't even allowed on submarines at that time, so it would have been civilian scientists, which is what the only female characters I had were the civilian scientist people. But there's just as much chance for that to be a female portrait as to be a male portrait, and that's all it is. It's just a portrait shift. So it's entirely possible to go through the entirety of this game without a single female character, and I find it really odd because the commander, like the very first person, the one who I had regeneration, is always a male. Like, it's always the same portrait. They changed the name, but it's always the same portrait. It's always a male. So there isn't a female character for that voice to actually be from. At least not one that is actually guaranteed to be in the game. So that's just really odd. But, like, yeah, what I just said about, we expected to return as heroes. Why? Absolutely nobody knows what you've done. The barest thought about all this would be people aren't going to believe you. So I'm happy to accept the idea that, you thought you were going to be praised as heroes as a form of self-deception, but that reduces the horror, because it's the accepting of the fate. It's the accepting of that horror and that knowledge that is the source of the horror. So that was actually, in those last few moments, that actually reduced how Lovecraftian the game was. But let's jump back to our pyramid here and the criteria. So, oh, by the way, this is the pyramid. If you haven't seen it before, you probably have if you're watching this. It's in every video. Indescribable, belittling, no. Still unknowable. I'm still happy with that. It is still unknowable. Yeah, like, and it almost makes me want to get rid of the 0.5 for logic of insanity. Like, it is still there, so I'm not going to take it away, because it is in there. But it really feels like an afterthought. It really doesn't feel like they intended to really do that. It just kind of happened that way. Yeah, I think I'm going to stick with those points, the 3.5, which is more or less what I actually assessed it to be at the very beginning, like the very start, but I had to finish the game to determine if unknowable should stay or not, and whether or not I needed to give a point for that. So it could have been reduced down to, and even that may not have been there. So it could have been reduced down to 2. Regardless, that is that game, which means Stirring Abyss will be, what is it? It's 2.5, was it? 1.5, so 2, 1, and then because it got a 0.5, it comes to 3.5. Awesome. which puts it right around here. Now, what is that? I think that should put it more than double. So that's um, actually, I think this one, because the point 0.5 specifically is coming out of the horror, I'm actually going to put it here in under leaning aesthetic rather than full on aesthetic. And that's not just because I don't want to move that down. I have moved that down a couple of times already. It's more because where that point 0.5 is coming from. So, stirring abyss. Let's remove that and remove the italics. So the ones in italics are there to say that they appear on this version of the pyramid. That's all the italics means. So not all of them will be appearing. I will be analyzing this for my thesis, like where the criteria points and all that sort of stuff. I will be analyzing that information for all these different games, which is why I need so many, so that it's actually statistically reliable kind of number. But the ones in italics are the ones that I intend to focus attention on, focus review on. If I talk about any games in depth, it will be those games. And I have reasons for pretty much all of these games. Some of them more so than others. So, for example, House of Ashes is kind of on here mostly because I wanted something to represent games in this area. And there's not that many of them. As you can see, it's pretty much House of Ashes, 13th Doll, 7th Guest, and that's it. And I felt that 13th Doll and 7th Guest, I could probably have slipped 11th Hour in here, but I have never actually played through the 11th Hour, and it would be a fun thing to do, but I actually want to do that in my own time. So I don't want to be under the pressure of this thesis for that particular game. But yeah, like I felt that House of Ashes. Oh, right, that's right. House of Ashes was unique in that one of the criteria points. Part of the horror should be fueled by real-world stereotypes held by the audience to help build the horror and suspense. This is typically racism in Lovecraft, but it's not necessarily so. Like there are some Lovecraftian stories that use this mechanism, but it's not rooted in some form of bigotry. But most of it is, and that is one of the things that makes Lovecraft problematic, is how big of a point this is in Lovecraftian horror. And House of Ashes is actually one of the few games I've found that actually dealt with that actually did that to some extent. And not in a negative way. Like it's supposed to make you confront those isms while still feeling those isms to a certain extent. So I actually really liked how House of Ashes dealt with that, and that is a big part of why House of Ashes was chosen rather than the other two games, which I just don't think that they're as good an example as House of Ashes for other reasons as well, as much as I love both of those games. Yeah, so a bunch of these games have been chosen for all these different reasons. I'm just going to throw this out here. You guys just watched me play Stirring Abyss, which I personally quite liked. If that is your kind of game, sure, play it. Go for it. But, especially if you haven't seen the stream, try Alpha Polaris. It is a really cheap game. It is really good. I absolutely loved it, and it is absolutely one of the single most Lovecraftian games I've ever encountered. And just to be clear, when I say it's one of the most Lovecraftian games, it's not just that, oh, hey, look how many points it's got. It had the feel of Lovecraftian horror. It actually had the types of horror from Lovecraftian horror, but also have a look at what's above it. Dagon, which is basically an audiovisual novel of one of Lovecraft's tales, same with Terrible Old Man, which got further down for various reasons, and The Cultist Simulator, which is a very fantastic game in its own right, but a very unique way of looking at that type of horror and that kind of gameplay. In terms of, hey, look, it's a traditional game. Like, it's a game type that people are at least generally familiar with. Like, it's the top. It is basically the top of the class. Like, unique, just an audiobook, actually the type of game that you expect it to be, and is heavily Lovecraftian. So I really can't emphasize, if you want a Lovecraftian game, give that game a shot. It is a point and click adventure game, so if your point and click adventure games are not your type of thing, fair enough. But if those things are your type of thing, give it a shot. It's so good. Um, and then you've got Bloodborne, which is Bloodborne, and Amnesia, which is Amnesia. That is a staple. If you are a fan of horror games and you have not played Amnesia, you should probably play Amnesia. You should also probably play Alone in the Dark and/or Legacy of Kain, which is down here as well. Neither of which I have ever played. So they are, and I hadn't actually played Amnesia before doing this thesis either. But those games are uh, staples. They're monumental in some respects. They have very influential games in the horror genre and even outside the horror genre. I think it was Alone in the Dark basically invented the survival horror genre. Um, Amnesia changed how we look at survival horror and like just how to do horror in games. It did its own thing and nobody has ever managed to replicate it since. But people have definitely tried and definitely tried to embrace some of the lessons from Amnesia. Um, and Legacy of Kain was one of those games that made people really question, can games be art, and or what it means for story to be in games, which was an absurd debate that was had for a while in gaming academia because a lot of people believe that story is just window dressing for games. And games like Stirring Abyss, like what I just played, are a great example of why some people believe that. The story, if you removed all of the story from the Stirring Abyss, the gameplay would not change even a little bit. And the experience would barely change. So long as you kept the audio, which was where a lot of that sense of horror and pressure actually came from for playing that game, barely anything would change. Sure, these points that we raised, like, it would still get the one from that. The protagonist would still be a blank slate character, and arguably the game would still be a certain amount unknowable because it doesn't explain everything. Because we're assuming we removed all of the lore. I probably wouldn't give it a point for that. Because it would just be, yeah, no, there is no lore here, there is no story here, it's just kill these monsters, we're done. But like, if you remove all the elements of the story, it would still get 2 points. Which, like, a lot of early games were like that. But also a lot of early games, the story was so deeply embedded, you couldn't have the game without the story. The game was less important than the story. So that was a very ridiculous debate that did eventually get resolved in the 2010s. I think it was like 2011, 2012 that the main adherents of, story as window dressing for games actually backed down and said, actually, no, this is, actually more deep than we originally thought. Still shocking that, like 2011 is when that debate started to wrap up. And it started in the early 2000s. In fact, arguably, it started in the 90s. I say arguably, I don't actually remember. I remember major debates starting in the early 2000s. And major proponents were making their arguments in the early 2000s, but those same major proponents existed and held those beliefs in the 90s. I just don't think that the debate existed in the 90s, at least not at the academic level. I could be mistaken there. I just don't quite remember the timeline perfectly well enough. But yeah, so that's me talking about my thesis as we wrap up Stirring Abyss. So next up, what have I got next? So I still have Strange Horticulture to play through, which that is just a really nice, relaxing game. Um, Last night I managed to get Soma more or less set up, so hopefully I'll be playing some Soma in the next week or so. All the games that are in bold are currently installed, so I am going to take a little bit of a break after this bit of stream. During those breaks, if anybody wants to suggest a game from this list, oh wait, Subnautica I do not actually own, so that should not be in bold. Um, but yeah, all the rest of these games are currently installed, currently ready to go. Um, I might actually try Alone in the Dark because that's one of those games I really should have. So I might do Alone in the Dark tonight, or I might do Scorn or Quake. Quake is another one that is multiplayer, and I have somebody who I was going to do that multiplayer with. I will have to touch base with them, see if they are available tonight, because they might not be. They absolutely might not be available tonight. Same with Soma. I need to figure out the schedule for playing that. So yeah, right now I estimate probably Scorn or Alone in the Dark. Oh, and these two games, I've tried to stream them. It didn't work. I'm probably going to have to play them offline. So these ones actually I'm going to remove from being in bold because yes, they are installed and I will be playing them. I can't really stream them. And Cult of the Lamb, if I get Twitch affiliation, I want to play Cult of the Lamb because Cult of the Lamb audience members on Twitch can impact the game. I've never done that before because I'm not a Twitch affiliate. So if you're watching this and you want to see me play Cult of the Lamb or you want to be more directly involved in this stream, please, all I need is to have, I think it's 5 people talking at the same time. I have over the 50 subscribers I've had in any one freaking stream. I've had 4 plus people talking, and it's changed. Like at the start of the stream I had, these 4, and at the end of the stream I had this other 4. But the stream I think went on for long enough, or I may have broken up the stream, so I ended one stream, started the next one, and so it was a different set of 4 for the next one. Just like so close to getting affiliate status. But as soon as I do, I will be playing Cult of the Lamb in order to see what that's like with Twitch. Or I might come up with another option. I might partner up with somebody who is already a Twitch affiliate in order to see what that's like. And then I could play both. I could play it without Twitch affiliate status and see what it's like that way, and then play it with Twitch affiliate status or watching somebody with Twitch affiliate status and see what it's like as an audience member affecting the game as well as a player. Because that might be a different experience that is worth taking into account. So I might even try and do both for that one. But yeah, this is the ones in bold are the games that I intend to play. They are the main ones that I want to add to this list to have reviewed. What I want is 50 games on the reviewed list. That is what I'm trying to do. So I need to get another 15 games over here. And hopefully not in here, because this is the discounted list. Because I have, in fact, played 50 games in total for this thesis. But a lot of them were discounted. Some of these are really good games, by the way. But they, for whatever reason, just have been discounted as not actually ticking enough boxes, not even trying to tick those boxes, being such a completely different genre. Like, yes, it's horror, but it's ghost horror or something like that, or it is a psychological horror, but it's not the type of Lovecraftian psychological horror. Like, yeah, there's like delusion is a thing. Yeah, so a bunch of them were discounted, but I want to get another 15 games done. They're most likely going to come from this list, but if you have any suggestions that you don't see on here at all, that if you have any games that you go, hey, this is a Lovecraftian game you haven't considered, do send it to me, because the more games I get, the better. In the meantime, I am going to take a bit of a break, and when I come back, I'll try Alone in the Dark, and it's going to be the original Alone in the Dark, not the remake. We're going to be doing the original Alone in the Dark, 'cause that's the only version I have got. But yeah, great to do some streaming, and I'll see you later. Farewell.